Well, good morning, everybody. Would you like for me to tell you a story, Ashley? Isn't that your name, Ashley? What is your full name? You know? What is it? You don't know?
Ashley Melissa Schrader. Can you say that?
Ashley Melissa Schrader.
And this is Anthony what?
Anthony Charles Schrader.
Anthony Charles Schrader. Would you two like for me to tell you a story about a great big turtle that happened on a farm we lived in years ago? This happened way back in 1949. And do you know who was born in 1949? Your daddy. Isn't that something? And you know your daddy, he said a little bit about that big turtle this morning. If you want to ask me any questions about it as I tell this story, you just feel free to interrupt me and you ask me a question, okay? We lived near Busco on a farm, and it was called Fox Farm. And the reason it was called Fox Farm is because people by the name of Fox owned it for years, and we bought it from them. And one day my brother and his son-in-law came up and they wanted to know if they could go fishing on our lake. See, we had this big lake on the farm. And we said, yes, they could go fishing. Well, they went down and they went fishing on this lake, and they came up and they said, you know what? We saw the biggest turtle we ever saw in our lives down in your lake. And said that come right up there, and they was afraid to come too close and upset them because they was in a boat. And so they took this boat and they rowed real fast to get to the shore so that they could get out of that boat before the turtle got it.
How big was the lake, Helen?
About 7 acres. And so we thought, my brother was always such a big kidder. We thought he's just telling us a great big story. We didn't believe him. He declared up and down it was the truth. Well, we didn't really put too much stock in his story until one day we had a leak in our barn, and our minister, Orville Reese, came out and helped my husband, Gail, to repair the roof on our barn. While he's up there repairing that roof on our barn, they saw this big turtle. Well, then we had to believe my brother's story. They had seen it.
It was right out on the land, or was it in the water?
It was in the water, and they just saw it surface the water at this time. And so they said, well, let's go down and see if we can really get a closer look at it. But as they got down towards the lake, that turtle went under the water.
Did they get an idea how big it was yet?
No, not then.
They just knew it was
they
big.
saw this huge, big turtle surface.
I wish that they could clean it and then keep the whole shell.
That would have been neat, wouldn't it? But we never got it.
It would
That
have
was
made
the
a lot of
problem.
turtle soup.
Yeah, it would have. And so we thought, well, we'll just see what happens. But in the meantime, Dale, my husband, went into the Busco to the garage, and he was telling some of the men in there at the garage about this big turtle. Well, that just stirred everything up. Well, some of the men said, well, can we just come out and see if we can find the turtle? And they wanted to do it for sport. And you know what? Before they had been out there very many times, here the newspapers got a hold of it. Well, I'm telling you, if that didn't stir up a great big mess. From that time on, we had no peace whatsoever. Mm-hmm. People came from all over, and they would be lined up some Sundays. The cars was just bumper to bumper, clear from Busco out to our farm. And even on 109, Route 109, and on 205, that went from Columbia City out there, they just was lined bumper to bumper, and they came by the hundreds out there to try to see the turtle. And why, some ladies come out there. You know how ladies wear those high spike heels? Come out there at that farm wanting to walk down to the lake and then. And And I told him, I said, oh, you don't want to go down there, you're going to ruin your shoes. I didn't care, they had to see that turtle. And so they just came.
Was there very many able to see it? Catch a glimpse
Well,
of
there
it?
was only a few times that anybody actually saw the turtle, but they would come see the lake. They'd see a smaller turtle. See, we got a number of turtles out of there. And the restaurants in Busco bought those turtles, and they made turtle soup and turtle burgers and sold them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they would take these turtles, put them on display, you know, things like that. And they had big signs up on their windows, turtle soup and turtle burgers, you know, advertising them. And then people came all from all over, Fort Wayne, even some from cities long distance away. The newspaper got hold of it, and it was in the Indianapolis Star and in the Cincinnati paper, and just papers all over, and people would just come from all over, you know, to see that turtle. And they'd come to the door and want to know if they could go down and see a turtle. So we always told them, well, we couldn't guarantee they'd see the turtle because very seldom did we ever see it. But they wanted to go down to the lake anyhow, so we let them go down. But it so happened that in somebody coming that way, they walked over our ground, ruined all of our crops, cut holes in our fences, and we just lost all of our crops, and we really lost a lot of money. But I was at the time, I was teaching young married people's class at the Cherubusco Nazarene Church. And I didn't want to miss Sunday school or church, so I wouldn't stay home on Sunday, but my husband wasn't a Christian at the time, and he stayed home on Sunday, and I go home from church, and well, I couldn't hardly get in the drive because of the cars that were parked there, and go in, and people were they'd come in our house and walk through our house as if they owned it or something, and use our bathroom and go in our living room, sit down and everything without an invitation. And we could not even sit down and eat a meal together as a family from that time on until we finally just said it was over, you know. But we did. The only way we made any money was after 1 year they had ruined everything for us, and so they still kept coming. So we decided, well, we were going to charge them 25 cents to park. So we would, every car come in.
Gosh, that's not much.
We'd charge them 25 cents.
Probably should have charged them a couple dollars for just get a chance to see the turtle.
Well, I guess, you know, some people would.
That's pretty nice.
But I said, well, we couldn't guarantee they'd see the turtle, and I didn't want to cheat the public. And so then we had many offers. One was from George Smythe that had a park near Angola, and he wanted us to go there. He said he'd build a glass cage and would put a turtle in that glass cage, and all Gail and I had to do is stand behind that cage, and as if he would charge people so much to walk past to see the turtle, and we'd get a percent of what he took in for that. And all we had to do is just answer questions. And I said, well, we haven't caught the turtle yet. We can't do that. And he says, well, don't you know the public wouldn't know whether it was that turtle or not. We could put any turtle in there. I said, well, maybe the public wouldn't, but I would know. And I said, I'm a Christian, and I cannot do it. And then we had offers from different radio stations, and from Cincinnati Zoo. They wanted to come out and get the turtle and buy it, and they offered us $1,800 for it. And I said, well, we can't guarantee you'll get it. Well, if they got it, they'd get us $1,800 for it. Well, we had better offers than that, because one company from Chicago radio station wanted us to go, and for 15 minutes a week, they pay all our expenses and give us $10,000 if we would go every week, you know, through the year, and just answer questions. And I said, well, now, you're not going to do that for nothing. Now, how are you going to get your money? What are you going to advertise? Well, they were going to advertise beer. I said, can't do it. And they said, well, at that time, Gail had an attack of appendicitis, and we didn't know at first what it was, but he was sick. And they saw him there in bed, and they said, well, your husband's sick, can you use the money? I said, well, yes, we could use the money, but I said, I don't want money like that. I said, I can't go and advertise beer. I said, well, you don't have to advertise. We'll advertise the beer, and then you'll just be on 10, 15 minutes and answer questions that we'll ask you, and then we'll advertise the beer afterwards. I said, oh, no. I said, it would be advertised before, it would be advertised afterwards. I want no part of it. And I said, no, I won't do it.
Well, the Christian testimony, that is really something you could have made a lot of money.
Oh, we could have, yes. But I said, no, I can't do it. I said, that wouldn't be Christian-like. I don't believe in people drinking beer, and because I said it causes too many heartaches and too much problems in families and everything. I can't do that and be a Christian. So I turned them down. Well, then there was a radio station from Cincinnati came, and they wanted to do the same thing. They gave us $12,000 if we would come. And I said, well, now I know you're not doing this for nothing. Now what are you going to advertise to pay for this time? Well, it was cigarettes. And I said, can't do it. I said, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in people smoking because I said it harms their bodies. And I can't support something like that when I know it would harm their bodies. Well, you don't have to say anything about them. We'll do that. I said, yeah, you're going to do it before we have a chance to talk, aren't you? I said, well, yes. And I said, when we get you talking, you're going to advertise again, aren't you? I said, yes. I said, no. I said, can't do it. He said, for $12,000? Your husband's laying in their bed sick. And I said, well, I said, the Lord will provide. I said, I can't do anything that I feel is going to harm anyone. And I said, I know cigarettes do harm people. And so I turned them down. So first my husband was kind of against it because he wasn't a Christian at the time. But I just stood it out. I just wouldn't do it. And I said, so I told him, I said, you know, I'm teaching a Sunday school class of young married people. I said, how do you think I could get up and teach them if I was guilty of supporting something like that? I said, no. And they said, well, you are losing your crops and everything. You need the money. I said, yeah, we need the money. But I said, God has promised to supply our needs. And so I said, that's all I'm asking, just God to supply our needs. But I said, can't ask God to supply our needs if we don't serve Him. And I can't serve Him doing things like that. So I just turned Him down. And so then when this George Smite wanted us to go and, have this turtle in a cage, I said, we can't wait. He said, well, you can put any kind of a turtle in that cage. The public won't know. I said, but I will.
That's deceiving.
I said, no. I said, can't do that. I said, I couldn't deceive the public like that. He said, well, lady, what's wrong with you? I said, well, I don't think there's really anything wrong with me, but I'm just trying to be a Christian. And I have to do what is Christian-like. And I said, that means more, serving God means more to me than any amount of money you can offer us. And so we turned that down. And of course, a lot of people thought we were very, very foolish. But it didn't matter to me what people thought. It was whether I was serving God or not. That was the thing that mattered. And so eventually, we did sell the farm. And because we couldn't, people just wouldn't quit coming. We had no peace. And, well, in that book, probably in that book, in one of the articles anyhow, that they wrote, we were out milking one morning. My husband was out milking, and the reporter came and wanted us to stop milking and talk to him. We told him, no, we couldn't do that because we had to get our milk ready for the milkman. He came a certain time, and we couldn't do it. So I told him, I said, well, you can sit down and help us milk if you want to.
Yeah.
But of course he wouldn't do that.
No, of course not.
So he said, well, I'll just stand here and ask you some questions. So he talked to us while we were milking. And then later on, another time, I was doing dishes, and the reporter came and wanted to interview me. I said, I don't have time. I said, we just have an awful time getting our chores done and getting our work done that has to be done. So I said, no, I can't do it. I've got to get these dishes done. He says, well, I'll hold the mic and you can, I'll ask you questions, you can talk to me while you're
They just
doing the
wouldn't leave you
dishes.
alone doing anything, would they?
Yes, right.
Hi.
And so he held the
Hi,
mic,
Hello.
and you could hear those dishes as I put them in the drainer, washing things. And he talked to me and asked me different questions and so forth about the turtles. And then we would have a number of telephone calls every day. That telephone ring, and it was just impossible to live a normal life. But anyhow, I stuck to it. And through doing, I've always said, by me sticking true to the Lord, that's the reason my husband was saved.
No problem.
It
It
gave
was a
him-
witness to him, too.
Yes, And so then later on, why they started having these turtle days and everything. And I think if you want to read an article there, it will tell you a little bit about what was going on.
Now, did you actually see it yourself?
Oh,
Did
yes,
you?
I saw it 3 times myself.
You
Very
did?
good, yes, very clear.
Did it come up, or did you see it just surface the whole
Well,
shell?
one time when I saw it, it surfaced like halfway. It raised one paw up out of the water, and it had its head out of the water. And its head was about the size of a baby head, and it looked like a stovepipe, those stovepipes
Yeah.
you used to have on heating stoves.
Yeah.
Well, its neck looked about like that, sticking up out of the water.
Gosh, how big do you suppose it was altogether?
Well, I would never guess its weight because, some turtles were real thick, some weren't so
Yeah.
thick through. So I said I'd never guess its weight. But this table that your mother-in-law's got out here, the back of it was about the size of the top of that table.
Gosh. Now, do you suppose that, do you suppose they kind of exaggerated that later on and made the turtle even bigger than that?
Oh, there was
I
a lot of stories in the
That's what I
newspaper. It
thought.
wasn't true.
I'd heard stories like it was as big as a whole room and stuff like
No,
that.
that
you know,
wasn't
and,
true.
and that just made the people come from that much more.
Right.
And did you ever? Mom said something about she caught a rope on the leg
Yeah,
one
one
time. And
time.
actually got a rope around that turtle's leg.
Yeah, we did. Gail did that. My husband was able to do that one time. They were out in the boat, and they saw the turtle, and he had taken this rope along. And it was a big rope.
Why did you
Strong,
unpick
heavy
it?
rope.
Well, gosh, you got to get some proof here. People were coming from everywhere to see this thing. If you had the real thing, you could probably get some of that money back.
Oh,
you know.
yeah, we could.
Yeah.
But the thing that we were interested in more than anything else was to prove we weren't lying.
Yeah.
See, everybody's calling us liars.
Well,
And I
sure.
just couldn't take that.
Yeah.
And I said that's the only reason that we spent the money and the time to try to get it was to prove that we weren't lying.
Yeah, that's the way I would feel too.
Yeah. But anyhow, this time that Gil got this rope, when he was in the boat with some other men, and he kind of lassoed around one of its legs, tied the knot real tight, and they started to pull it with the boat, and it broke the rope. But from that time on, every time you'd see that turtle, you could see that rope on its leg.
That's something.
And then another time, they built these cages. They thought maybe they could get him in a cage. They had built traps before, but he would break right through the traps. So they decided to build a cage. And we had this float, and so the men got out, and I happened to be on the float at the time that they did this. And they built this big cage, and they thought they'd take it out after night. They had the lights, and they put it down over the turtle, but they didn't have it made big enough. They got it down on one side, and the other side was right on the back of the turtle. It wasn't big enough. So we had some of these rail fence posts, and so they put these posts all around on the other side where they couldn't get the cage over him, and thought that would keep him in till morning. And they went back to the garage to make a bigger trap. And the next morning when they went down to change him, that turtle was gone. It just spread those posts you know, away so it had room to get through there, and it was
He
gone.
was just so big and so strong
Yeah.
that it just was impossible to keep him. This whole thing.
Yeah, and we had him in a trap one time, and got him clear up to the edge of the water, and I believe it was Mr. Fogel was the man's name, that was up in a tree, and he got a picture of the turtle as they were pulling him up in this trap. But when they got so close to the edge, that turtle went right through that trap. Shook right through it, and it was a metal trap. Like made of wire, you know, metal wire and stuff.
For heaven's sakes.
So then eventually, they got the idea, well, we just pump the lake. So we tried to pump the lake dry. And of course, that's when Gil got sick. He had to go to the hospital and have surgery. And I tried, we were pumping it and getting it pretty small. But there would be places, the side of the lake, where it would break loose and have a great big crack. One day there was a photographer there, and he fell down those cracks with his camera and everything. So we had quite a time getting him out. But the ground just kept breaking away, you know, as we pumped the lake, well, then it would just break away like that. And so after Gail had to go to the hospital, Bon was about 13 years old, I guess, at this time. And he would help me do the chores at night. And so we kept doing the chores, and I was selling eggs. And oh, what a time I had getting those eggs cleaned. The people would be there until about midnight, and then after they would leave, they would have so much mud tracked in, I'd have to get down and I'd scrub the floors, get that mud cleaned up, you know, and then I would start cleaning my eggs for the next day. And because that was one way I got money, you know. And I spent many hours, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, scrubbing floors and cleaning my eggs and getting things done I couldn't get done through the day because of so many people being there. So anyhow, finally, after Gail had to go to the hospital and everything, I thought, well, if I can possibly keep that pump going, I will. But I couldn't do it because I just had too much to do to try to do the chores. I went to the hospital every day, and it just got to be too much for me. And so I told Gail, I said, I just don't think I can keep this up. He said, well, shut the pump off. Well, when I shut the pump off, then the lake started filling in again. And so, of course, after it started filling in again, then we just gave up on it and we didn't try anything else.
Now you think he went down below in the mud?
Yeah,
Buried in the
because
mud?
as we pumped that lake, you could see trenches where it had made, you know, well, there was more than one turtle in there. It wasn't just this big one. There was a number of turtles in there. But they would make like trenches, just like a tunnel that they made, you know, to go from one place to another, all through there. And I think what happened, I don't know if this is true or not, but I can't prove it. But I said, I think that maybe finally, Oscar, the water's getting so low that he just kept going and maybe went into another lake or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever
could
happened to him.
Could have been.
Or he could have buried under until the water filled up again.
Yeah, he could have. But we didn't try it after the lake filled up. We just didn't try it.
In a way, they might have killed it, or he would have been on display. It's kind of neat that he ended up getting to be free.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of think it was a happy ending for them.
Well, it wasn't
It
a
wasn't
turtle.
for you, though.
No.
For you and Gail. Because you never really got to prove.
Yeah, that's right. But
And Oscar got
in
to
the
prove.
end, Chair Busco made money off of it, and
And they still do. They still do today
Yeah,
on Turtle
yeah.
Nation.
And that's the way they got their park. They've got there now is just from what they made off of Turtle Days.
Mhm.
So I said, well, it turned out in the end the town profited
Yeah.
by it, even if we didn't. And it was an experience the Lord gave us. But I said afterwards then, the Lord took care of us. We sold the farm, and of course we lost some money. We didn't get the price we should have out of the farm. But nevertheless, we moved from there, a 120-acre farm, into a 8 by 24-foot trailer. And that was quite a change.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was happy because I felt clear in my, you know,
Your conscience.
in my mind. I hadn't done anything to try to you know, fool anybody. Because I'd always tell people when they come, I can't tell you that you'll see the turtle. It'll be a miracle if you do, because he doesn't surface very often. But they wanted to go down anyhow, so I thought, well, if they want to go down, I'll let them go down. But it did ruin our farm by doing that, because driving the cars and then cutting our fences and you know, tramping over the crops and everything. But I didn't care so much about that. I said, if we can just get the turtle to prove that we are not lying.
But you know, I'm sure that a lot of people were convinced that maybe you were telling the truth.
I
They
gotta
wouldn't
go
have
get
went down and
Kleenex.
checked it. Because see, I'm sure that came out in the papers here, the fact that you turned down these offers
Yeah.
because of your Christian values. If you would turn down that kind of money, you would surely not lie to the public.
Well,
And so
I
I'll
think
bet you
it
there's
did.
a lot of people were convinced that you were telling the truth.
Oh,
and that
yes.
probably brought them out even more in hordes. So maybe most people really did believe you, that knew you personally. You know?
Yeah. Well, at least I know a lot of people had confidence in me because of me turning down those offers and everything, that maybe wouldn't, if I would have accepted them, they might have had a doubt. Well,
Yeah,
is she really a
sure.
Christian or not?
Yeah.
And in the end, my husband was saved through all
Yeah.
this. So
And
that
there's no
was
value.
worth, no.
You couldn't put any kind of a price on that. You have
Definitely
all kinds of treasure in heaven.
That's right.
That's all that you could have had. You could have probably ended up being a millionaire
Well,
if you would have,
yeah, we could have
did
made,
it the crooked way.
yeah. But see, then eventually we moved to Fort Wayne, and I started to work again then, and finally I ended up at Brotherhood Mutual Insurance Company, which was a Christian insurance company, and I didn't make a lot of money when I started
That's where
there.
you're at, Gina. Your insurance is there.
Oh.
But in the end, it proved out good, because I worked there for better than 20 years, and today I am still getting a pension check every month from them. And not only that, but on Christmas, around Christmas time, the last 5-6 years, they have sent me a check at Christmas time. Last year, the amount of the check was $750.
Yeah.
And they're not obligated in any way
How
whatsoever,
wonderful.
giving me 1 penny at Christmas time.
Well, that's
But year before last, they sent $800. That was the largest amount I got. The smallest amount I got was, I can't remember exactly, it was $300 and some dollars. But it's different every year. And I never know for sure if I'm going to get it every year. It's nothing that they have promised. And
Just
like I
a
said,
gift,
they're not
right.
obligated in any way to do this. But they just do it for me. Write me a nice letter how much they appreciate the years that I've worked for them and so forth.
It's like a gift from heaven.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, you want her to read this article?
I'm going to read the article now.
Mm-hmm.
In appreciation for their help and their struggles in 1949, we dedicate this book to Gail and Helen Harris. The title here is The Beast of Busco by Helen Harris. We were a happy, peaceful family of 4. Gail, our son Vaughn, my nephew Keith, and myself, until Oscar became a part of our lives. My brother and his son-in-law first saw the turtle while fishing in the lake. We thought at first he was kidding us, but he said he was serious. He had never seen a turtle that big. Later, Gail and our minister, the Reverend Orville Reed, saw the turtle surface from the roof of the barn, which they were repairing. Naturally, this aroused our curiosity, and we started watching the lake to see if we could get a glimpse of the turtle. This is our own private project, but Gail made the mistake of talking about it in Kenny Leach's garage. Some of the men at the garage wanted to know if they could come out and try to capture the turtle just for sport. We agreed that they could, but we didn't have any idea the newspapers would learn about it. But they did. And from then on, our normal home life was really upset. After the newspapers started printing the story about Oscar, people started coming to our farm from everywhere. If you never had an experience similar to this, you wouldn't believe the actions of the public. We couldn't sit down and eat a meal in peace or get our work done on schedule. I remember one morning we were in the barn milking and a reporter came out and wanted us to quit milking and answer some questions. We told him we had to finish milking first. He didn't offer to help milk. Another time I was washing dishes and a radio reporter started talking to me. I told him I had to do the dishes and that I didn't have time to talk. He said, "I'll hold the mic and you can talk while you wash dishes." He did, and the clatter of dishes was heard over the mic. We had no privacy in our home. People came by the hundreds and would walk right into our home without knocking. They used our bathroom, sat in the living room, or did anything else they wanted to do without asking. There were many nights after midnight that I scrubbed the floors and did the necessary things I couldn't get done during the day to keep our home in order. Finally, when we couldn't take all the confusion any longer, we put our farm up for sale. You wonder why we did all this? Just to prove we weren't lying about seeing a big turtle. We sold the farm and moved to Fort Wayne. Today, we live in a mobile home at the north end of Loon Lake and spend our winters in Florida. Our son Vaughn and family live in St. Petersburg, Florida. Although we didn't profit by this experience, we are thankful the town of Busco did and that they have a very nice park. We are grateful to the people that did have confidence in us. We know, and God knows, that we were telling the truth. So it doesn't make much difference what the public thinks.
Well, okay, maybe you like read the poem too.
Good Old Oscar is the title of the poem. Busco will never be forgotten, or so we always claim. But without the beast of Busco, this place would not be the same. It's all started at Bulk Lake some 25 years ago. Why old Oscar refused to claim his fame, we still don't know. The beast of Busco, as we know here, was quiet and shy. He surfaced only occasionally with that gleam in his eye. And they tried so hard to catch him with little success. Good old Oscar avoided them with the greatest finesse. Put yourself in Oscar's place and imagine his very deep frustration. He had no choice other than to find a more secluded habitation. Busco without the turtle wouldn't be Turtletown, USA. Picture it being kind of like Bob Amber without a Chevrolet. Of all the places he could have gone, I'm really glad he chose here. Without this famous turtle, why would we celebrate every year? I'm sure it wasn't easy to face the harassment and ridicule. It's difficult to endeavor while people are calling you a fool. We're sorry old Oscar caused you so much unwanted strife, but thank you, Gail Harris, for bringing him into our life. By Joan Gaff.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Helen. It was just wonderful to hear about it again. There's another poem, if you want to read it, on page 22, Jeannie. It's good, too. We got more tape here.
I like that one. That's your main poem, that last one. This one's named Beast of Busco, too. A robin sang in a maple tree, an old folk lake, quiet as could be. A couple sat in a small rowboat, and in a field nearby stood a fat old goat. Suppose there's a fish anywhere in there. Surely there must be one here somewhere. When all of a sudden a big head rose, and there was a turtle sticking up his black nose. Wow, he's as big as our dining room table. By golly, he is. You're sure right there, Mabel. Shh. What shall we do? He'll tip us out. They hurried to shore and began to shout. Now that was way back in '49, and from then on we've had a time. Soon everyone knew it back in town, and people came from all around. Poor Gail Harris almost sweat blood, for old Mr. Turtle went down in the mud. People crawled over his fences and land, even pulled up some fence posts by hand. 2 good tractors he used to drain, but before he made it, it started to rain. Even the policeman, remember Pete Green, many a time was called to the scene. A hot dog stand was put up nearby, and turtle soup was sold, not too high. A newspaper reporter fell in the lake, but he loudly declared he was scared by a snake. Oscar made the papers. Busco got on the map, but some folks still questioned who took the rap. And would you believe the Cincinnati Zoo came clear here, offered big money too? But the town folk figured with Oscar so near, they'd start their own zoo and keep him right here. They sent for a diver. He came from afar. He even hitched some of his gear to a car. But though he dove down, way down in the deep, he couldn't find Oscar, said he must be asleep. But not until later, and summer most over, did people give up their dreams of green clover. The beast of Busco, they called him then. Now it's Oscar the Turtle. Remember him? Now years have passed. Many have lamented. But that's how turtle days were first incepted.
Great. Thanks a million.
You can only do it for a short time and then tell them out.
That's where we're lucky up here.
Yeah. But it's,
Tom and I was talking the other Sunday, and we've been lucky. We haven't had vandalism at the church, but there's so many keys out. I think half the people at the church has got keys.
oh really? That's not good.
I go over about 6 o'clock, and I find all the hall lights on.
Oh really?
In the restrooms, the old restrooms, those lights will be on.
But do you think somebody did get in there that shouldn't have been, that left them on?
Yeah.
Really?
They go in Saturday night.
Well, you know, my brother Johnny had this property on Hart Road there in North Fort Myers. And it had 2 mobile homes on it. I lived in one, he lived in the other one. And so then he put it up for sale. And he didn't get it sold before we moved, but we found this place where we live now, and we thought it was just an ideal place for us with a little work, you know, could be fixed up, so it'd be real nice for both of us. And so that left the mobile homes on Hart Road vacant. You know, we think it was just kids broke in there one night. He had it padlocked and everything. But they broke in, and my goodness, he had put new ceiling in one of the bedrooms, and they took the broom and they just punched holes and knocked that ceiling down, had holes in it and everything, and then they took black paint and just sprayed on the mirror and around all different places and everything. So we thought, well, it had to be kids. Adults wouldn't do anything like that.
Tom says the Methodist church in town, they even keep their classrooms are locked. And Sunday morning, just before some maintenance man goes in, unlocks the classrooms.
Well,
Oh, excuse me, do you know what the time is, Mom? Oh, there it is.
you can stay with us, Ashley?
Yes, Mom.
Why not? Dear, I thought you liked me just a little bit.
I do.
Mom, do you have any idea which way the mailman goes? Instead of going all the way into town, maybe I could catch him. I missed him this morning. I should have had this
Oh,
email
well,
in
Minnie,
mail.
it's been a long time now. He comes at 11:30.
So he's in town.
He'd be on his way back to town now.
Well, I'm going to lose a lot of work time. I'm going to get 20 hours in this week.
It's hard for her to get her work done with those two kids. Well, like you say, you are fortunate you don't have the Cubans and all these Spanish people to contend with. But between here and Florida, there's a lot of places where the Spanish people have taken over motels and things like that. You don't know, you go in there and you see the Spanish people, you don't know if it's safe to rent a room of them or not. But there's one thing about as far as the church is concerned, a lot of them are really interested in getting a church and learning English and so forth. And that's why so many of them, from the church has gone to hold services for them and tried to teach them English and tried to teach them the right way of living and everything, And like I say, they will get them started, but then they can't continue because then they think, well, that's what they are here for, just have somebody take care of them. We can't let them think that.
If you want to be cool, helmets are the rule. Women have served as civilians in every war since the American Revolution. But it wasn't until World War I
drive and everything, and finally he got a promotion too. He's got a better job, more money and so forth, and he works for Florida Power yet. He's been there 17 years. And then on Saturday and Sunday, he's an instructor for the airplanes, instructs kids to learn to be pilots. And then when he don't have anything else to do, he takes these video pictures of weddings and receptions and just anything special like that. So they're all real busy. Mitch, our grandson, is in photographic work. Mitch is 28 now. Jean is 26. And so they're on the phone whenever I want to call them. Of course, they call me too sometimes. A lot of times I wished I was closer to them, but I've made friends where I'm at, and they're all working and so busy and everything, they wouldn't be much company for me anyhow if I was up there, so I'd rather stay than Fort Myers. What happened to you, Anthony? You had some problems, didn't you?
What are you trying to do?